information that he has been nabbed by the Maharashtra ATS there. So what officials here are telling is that they will know the motive of this only after nabbing this guy and questioning him on why this was. They was looking into this lone wolf angle also. So on what really led to this, because this was an attack where you were just randomly selected.
Good evening, hello and welcome. You're watching The Right Stand here on CNN News 18 with me, Poonam Burde. 14 opposition parties knocked on the door of the Supreme Court wanting relief in what they claimed was persecution of opposition leaders by the centre via investigating agencies like the CBI and the Enforcement Directorate. Congress, TMC, BRS, DMK and the RJD were among the parties who urged the court to frame pre-arrest guidelines to prevent misuse of investigative agencies. But unfortunately for the opposition, the Supreme Court bench led by Chief Justice D.Y. Chandrachud refused to entertain this plea, leading to it being withdrawn. Abhishek Manu Singhvi, the Council for United Opposition, listed statistics to point to low conviction rates in cases filed by the ED and the CBI. But the CJI was clear that just because of some figures and statistics, investigation cannot be stopped. Now, if you recall, opposition parties have hit the streets on multiple occasions. They've raised slogans both inside and outside the parliament. They've cried witch hunt, that their leaders are being questioned, some of them being jailed. But there seems to be no takers for this narrative. Even the courts of the country would not entertain it. So what exactly happened in the Supreme Court today? Let me break it down for you. Here's what the opposition said. Counsel Abhishek Manu Singhvi said there's a 600% increase in cases that have been filed by the CBI and the ED ever since the Modi government took over. What the Supreme Court said is that the conviction rate is generally dismal, so you can't point out to those statistics to want these guidelines. The opposition said that out of the leaders that are being probed, 95% are from the opposition, which is why this looks like a witch hunt. To which the Supreme Court said that political leaders are basically citizens, and like any other common citizen, they too cannot have any protection as far as investigations like these go. Now, the opposition's plea said that they're seeking guidelines from the Supreme Court, an overall guideline, so to say. To which the CJI said that politicians cannot claim higher identity. They are on the same standing as any other citizen of this country. The opposition said the statistics show a harassing effect. To which the CJI-led bench said that you cannot have a different procedure for netas and everybody else in this country. The opposition then pointed out at mass arrest. They said that this is a threat to democracy. To which the Supreme Court said that this petition by parties, not by someone aggrieved, which is why we cannot pass an order. If you come individually or if a group of pleas come to us, then we'll consider it. But overall, a preemptive order cannot be passed, is what the Supreme Court said. Now, this is a definite setback for the opposition, but they believe it's not the end of the road.
The court felt that this is too large a matter to lay down general guidelines. They have categorically allowed the withdrawal of this petition, not passing any adverse order. I repeat, not passing any adverse order. If we get new causes of action or new persons or new reasons, it can be filed again. So clearly they have not entertained it at this stage. A skewed non-level application of agencies like, or misapplication of agencies like ED, CBI, etc. The figures published, which the court accepted, showed 95% misuse within the political class only against opposition leaders.
Now, the counsel for the 14 opposition parties argued that the government was violating the triple test that's laid down by the Supreme Court for arresting the accused persons. It requires reasonable grounds, it requires necessity and proportionality. Abhishek Manu Singhvi said that many opposition leaders were being arrested without any evidence or justification, and that was affecting their ability to perform their duties as elected representatives. The Chief Justice, however, was not convinced by this argument. So here's why this order is extremely significant. Number one, the top court will not entertain a petition that wants to save politicians. That was made clear today. Politicians have also been put on the same standing as common citizens. You cannot have different yardsticks, was the message that came to the fore from the Supreme Court. They also said that they will not stop investigation just because the conviction rate is low. If there are allegations that are leveled, then they will have to be probed. That was the message that came to the fore from the highest court of this country. But the door is not completely closed, as Abhishek Manu Singhvi is also saying. He says there was no adverse order. They asked us to withdraw the petition, which is what we did. So now, has this put an end to the noise around agencies being misused, that allegation, that narrative that we've seen, especially in the last couple of months? That's our focus on this edition.
सभी भ्रष्टाचारी एक मंच पर आने का प्रयास करते हैं, लेकिन ये जनता में भी इनका चेहरा बेनकाब हुआ है और कोर्ट में भी असलियत जानने का मौका मिला।
Tom Vadakan, spokesperson of the BJP, joins us on this broadcast. Leader of the BRS, Vishnu Vardhan Reddy, is with me. Kapil Madan, lawyer and political analyst leaning towards the Congress party, is also with us. And lawyer Ashish Dikshit is also with me. Now, I'd like to make it clear that the Congress party was sent an invitation for this particular broadcast, for this debate. But unfortunately, they did not want to participate. I'd like to open this up with the BRS's leader, Vishnu Vardhan Reddy. Do you see this as a big setback, Mr. Reddy? Because even the courts will not entertain a petition that wants preemptive guidelines to be set just for politicians.
Good evening, everyone. See, I'll have to disagree with you because, with all due respect to Honorable Supreme Court, the Supreme Court had made it amply clear that it had given full liberty to the opposition parties to come back with new grounds, new facets and new merits. So it's not done and dusted, and it's not an option that's not available for the opposition. But the Supreme Court did also mention that individual cases based on merit would be looked into, would be supported and protected if there is any merit in those cases. So the opposition leaders will continue. We still have faith in our judiciary system. We will continue to approach the courts and we will try to seek justice.
Sure.
Having said that, you made a statement that political opposition parties are making a witch hunt and by the Modi government and making a lot of hue and cry. But let me remind you, when Honorable Prime Minister Modi ji was the CM of Gujarat, he did make these sort of statements, calling CBI a caged parrot or calling CBI the Congress Bureau of Investigation. So
yeah, but the CBI was called a caged parrot under the UPA by a court. But anyway, go ahead.
Yeah. So what I'm trying to say is the selective targeting of the opposition leaders is something that's out in the open, that is coming out in public discourse, that's out on public domain. The reason why we are saying is, if you look at the people who joined BJP recently, there is one gentleman called Sanjay Patil who happens to be a BJP MP from Maharashtra, and he makes a statement on the stage in full public view that ED will not come after him because he is a BJP MP. And then there is another gentleman called Harshavardhan Patil, who was a former minister from Congress. He happens to join BJP and he makes a statement on the stage that he can sleep peacefully because he had joined BJP. Now, these are very serious statements being made by the elected representatives who happen to join BJP. And I can take a lot of names. I can take Himanta Biswa Sharma, Suvendu Adhikari.
Sure, and that's the allegation that the opposition has been making time and again, that the BJP is a washing machine of corruption.
Absolutely.
Once you join the BJP, then all of your sins are completely forgotten. And Tom Vadakan, I would like to get you in. Sure. Sure, and I would like the BJP spokesperson to respond to that. Tom Vadakan, the opposition does not see this as a setback. They say that there is still light at the end of the tunnel. It's not the end of the road. We can go back to the Supreme Court with individual cases. But how has that fared for the opposition so far? At least in the case of, say, Satyendra Jain or Manish Sisodia. They have been denied bail by the courts of this country. Those are individual cases as well.
Poonam, case by case, if you take it up, they have said that, Supreme Court has said, well, if there's a grievance, we'll address it and we'll hear it. That's what they said. And we heard Abhishek Singhvi saying that, well, permission was given to withdraw the petition. So be it, because essentially there was no leg on which this petition could stand. Because their demand was that they should be given some kind of a reservation above the common man, where they are treated separately. If you're corrupt, you have to face the music. Now, whether it's UPA dispensation or NDA, the corrupt will be punished, and it is our policy that we have a zero tolerance on corruption. So that is our agenda. We have said that. Sure. And yesterday you heard the Prime Minister say that at the CBI function very categorically. Look, we won't tolerate corruption. You are free to take action against anybody, anywhere, and we'll back you. I mean, that's the position we have had.
Sure.
And as to the question of people coming to the BJP, I mean, it's unfortunate for them that those who join them and leave them, they say they have all cases, but when they are with the concerned party, there is no cases against them. Suddenly, when they turn to the BJP, there's a huge number of cases that they discover. Now, this is a double standard, double-edged weapon that they use from time to time.
Sure.
This whole business of washing machine, the narrative that they created. I said that on some other channel, I think. There's no detergent and there's no water in the washing machine. And then they still continue to say, well, you join, then you all join the BJP, where the problem will get sorted. But you don't, because you have something to hide. You are 14 parties who have conviction, people who are, in serious trouble. And then you want complete favor. And what is happening to us in Telangana, for example? What has happened? Our president has been picked up on a very strange excuse that he's leaked papers, as if we had nothing else to do. So when you do it, it's all, when the law of the land takes control, you have all have all the problems in life, saying that, well, BJP is that and BJP is this.
So that witch hunt allegation does not really have a legal standing is what the BJP says. I'd also like to get in Ashish Dikshit and talk about this petition in particular. Do you think that this petition from the word go perhaps did not have any legal standing or was flawed? The kind of observations that the CJI made, do you think they were on expected lines with the kind of demands the opposition was making?
Good evening, Poonam, and to other panelists. See, in our constitution, one thing is very fundamental. That is the principle of equality. The petition which was filed before the Supreme Court today wanted to create a different class of citizenry for the purposes of politicians. They said when it comes to politicians, you treat us as a separate category and don't arrest us and make a different guidelines, put down different guidelines which are not applicable to common citizens. The Supreme Court rightly said that you are as good as a common citizen. Whichever law is applicable to you, to any common citizen, would be applicable to politicians. The constitutional scheme is such that equality is the basic feature of the constitution, except barring few high constitutional functionaries such as president and the governor. No one is immune from prosecution. And if you have any grievance with regard to that, the prosecution is not done in the right manner, there are umpteen number of remedies available in the criminal procedure code, and most of the lawyers do exercise that. And coming to your particular question that whether this petition did not have legs to stand, I also think so that the petition, the manner in which this petition was presented to the court was demanding something which is legally not permissible. To say that you treat me as a separate class of citizenry is something which the Supreme Court will not allow as a final arbiter of the Constitution of India.
Yes, you cannot have politicians being put on a pedestal. That's really the message that came to the fore from the Supreme Court. And Kapil Madan, we had Abhishek Manu Singhvi, the counsel for the petitioners, the 14 opposition parties, go on to list statistics about the number of cases that have been filed against opposition leaders, the ratio that it had, and also speak of conviction rates. Now, the low conviction rate is something that the opposition has always pointed at to bolster their claim that these cases are nothing but vendetta because they don't reach their logical conclusion. But even the CJI came out today and said that in general, the conviction rate in this country is dismal. So you can't single out the cases that are being filed by the CBI or the ED just against politicians.
I agree with you to this extent that the petition, to my understanding, the petition, the court was right in not allowing the petition in a sense, because you can't have general guidelines on something like this. But at the same time, the court did give a liberty that the court will look into it, the aspects raised in this petition whenever there is any specific case. Now let me quote, if you recall Anil Deshmukh's High Court order, the court observed in the order, the case filed by the the ED looks absurd, and there seems to be no likelihood of conviction. So this is again an observation of the court. Now, but what happens in the meanwhile, the person spends a considerable time in jail. And I also agree with Ashish here. Ashish gave a remark that you can't have different set of laws for politician and for a citizen. Well, of course, yes, everyone is equal, but the point is, the problem is sometimes the law enforcement agencies try to treat a politician who's been accused of an offense differently. And let me quote you a very specific example. I have never seen anyone getting a conviction of 2 years for an offense of defamation. To my understanding, this is excessive. And the fact, because, the conviction is of a politician, you are treating him differently.
Sure. But a case of defamation and a case of corruption are two very different things. A corruption allegation and a corruption case is... I understand you're quoting an example, but when we are talking about corruption cases, it has to be taken with more seriousness, doesn't it?
Yes. Again, if you see, the test that you need to apply when you are facing a corruption charge, and in fact, that was one of the arguments that was raised before the Honorable Supreme Court, is that you have a set parameter that needs to be seen while, granting or while dismissing bail. The thrust of the argument that was made before the Honorable Supreme Court was that now, the ED is being used as an instrument only against the opposition. Corruption, you can't have, you can't give a go ahead to a corruption based on the party or the political affiliation is affiliated to. If someone has done any illegal act that falls under the ambit of the corruption laws, you need to ensure that you move ahead and you close that case quickly. But the point is, what appears from the data is, there are people who comes from the incumbent government against whom there are cases that are registered. However, those cases are not seeing the light of the day. There is no visible progress that is being seen. At the same time, when it is when you have any person from the opposition who's facing a charge, you see a different level of intensity. You see a different level of progress in those cases. And I am again not questioning that if agency is moving quick, that should be a problem. That's a good sign. But the point I'm trying to make here is, we have an example where the Bombay High Court observed that the case made by PMLA is absurd, and there is no likelihood of conviction of Anil Deshmukh in the PMLA proceedings. How do you? The person suffers political and damage in his career.
Sure, but the other side of the argument is also cases like Satyendra Jain and Manish Sisodia, who have been denied bail on multiple occasions by different courts because there seems to be some merit in the kind of investigation or the case that the agencies are building. And I want to get in Vishnuvardhan Reddy as well. The fact that the Supreme Court today came in and said, Mr. Reddy, that you cannot put politicians on a pedestal. If anything, politicians and elected representatives should lead by example. They should open themselves up for investigation to set an example to the people of this country so that they have faith in the agencies of this country, in the judicial system of this country, that law will take its own course.
Yeah, I do agree. And that is the reason why you've pulled up Mr. Manish Sisodia's name and the reasons for bail rejection, whatever. In the same case, Honorable MLC Kavitaji was also summoned by the ED thrice.
Yes.
The CBI had come down to Hyderabad for a full day of questioning. We believe in our judicial system, and Kavitaji has been attending and answering all the questions.
Sure.
Now, when you say there is a merit in case, you just can't summon a person based on based on, she is a suspect. She is not an accused. And we strongly believe that there is no evidence whatsoever that can link her with this case.
Sure.
All they are trying to do is, political witch hunting, just to hound and harass the opposition leader. In this specific case, she was summoned to Delhi thrice, and in the summon notice, it was clearly mentioned that she would be confronted with other accused in the remand report, Mr. Pillai, but it did not happen. And we did approach the Supreme Court regarding the rights which Nalini Chidambaram's case was already pending in the Supreme Court, right? A woman can't be questioned beyond a certain time.
Sure.
And we've been fully cooperating with the agencies. Whether
sure, and because you mentioned you going to the Supreme Court, you did want to stay on the summoning, but the Supreme Court didn't grant you that either.
No, it's not. The hearing was postponed for 3 weeks. So the matter is still sub judice.
Sure.
It was supposed to be heard on 24th. It got pushed out to 27th of March. And on 27th, the hearing was done. And then again, a new date after 3 weeks was given. So the court is still looking into this. But what I'm trying to say is, when we have, full faith in our judiciary system and in our investing agencies, the way the investigation is being conducted, it clearly shows that you either listen to us, agree with what we say, join our party, because we've heard BJP National President, Mr. JP Nadda ji saying that, India is looking to have one party, one nation, one nation, one party system. So, the intention is clear. They don't want any other opposition in the country.
Sure. So, Tom Bodakar, you're not cleaning up corruption, you're cleaning up the opposition altogether. That's the allegation.
That's what we are trying. That's what we are trying to say.
Yes, that's the allegation, and I'd like Tom Bodakar of the BJP to respond.
I mean, I don't think there is any such intention of eating up. They are eating themselves up because they are all tied up in corruption. So what do? There is this TRS leader, now BRS, who has made so much of money that he wants to be the national, he's formed a national party. And as part of his action, we see what happened to our president. Middle of the night, he is picked up from his house. This did not happen to Kavita ji. He was picked up in the middle of the night, and 16 hours later, there is this FIR filed. And what is the FIR all about? Well, there was this leak that had occurred, and he was holding a press conference, and that would damage them. So they picked up, concocted an FIR, and put him under bars, and now he's got, I think, 14 days judicial custody. If this is your sense of judiciary, if this is your sense of democracy, unfortunate indeed. Then I heard Kapil Madan talking about Rahul Gandhi's case. Rahul Gandhi was given an opportunity to apologize and the matter would have ended. No, he didn't. And he said he will not apologize. And that too for the OBC community. The point here is you have different positions on different issues. There was no need for 2 years of conviction. He would have been sent out and it would have been a mild matter. But he insisted, no, I will not apologize. I'm a Gandhi. Now, these are no answers. Judiciary is not going to accept this kind of arguments. We have given you an option. The judiciary has given him a good option. He could have walked away without a problem.
Sure, and the courts of this country rule one way or the other. You can't see this by convenience, isn't it, Mr. Dixit? You can't see certain orders that are complying with what you wanted as the judiciary doing its job, and otherwise it's not.
See, exactly, Poonam. Even today, if we see the proceedings of the court today, early in the morning when the judgment was given in that Media One case, where the Supreme Court said that the concept of sealed cover is not to be utilized, it is something which hurts the government. And in the evening, the court has ruled that the opposition parties are wrong in coming to the court. So court is just doing their job. Either of the party would be happy and they will support it, and sometimes they would not be happy and they will say the judiciary is under pressure or all those things.
Yes.
I don't see as a lawyer that there is any kind of pressure. But coming to the question in hand, the gist of the argument in the petition which was filed in Supreme Court was that the agencies and the offences and the law is being misused against the opposition leaders. The law is very well settled in this regard, that just because there is misuse of a law cannot become a ground to set aside or make a distinction in that law.
Yes.
Similarly, once you say that a law has been passed by the parliament, the opposition or for that matter any party cannot go to the court and say that you make a distinction or make a classification as far as that law is applicable to me. Another aspect which was raised was with regard to the low rate of conviction. It is undisputed that the conviction rate is very low irrespective of offences.
Yes.
And the reason is that in our judicial system, we follow a system which is the prosecution has a burden to prove beyond reasonable doubt.
Yes.
And the accused has only one onus to bring on record any reasonable doubt on the story of the prosecution. So in majority of the cases, the prosecution fails. But that doesn't mean just because the conviction law is low, you would stop prosecuting people.
Exactly, and that's the point that was made by the Chief Justice D.Y. Chandrachud as well.
Most of the laws will be set aside.
Yes.
That cannot be the interpretation.
Yes. And that's exactly the message that came to the fore from the Supreme Court. Whether or not this debate over agencies being misused is settled, that's something that still remains to be seen. Tomorrow is the last day of the Parliament. We are expecting this narrative to come to the fore both inside and outside Parliament as well. It doesn't look like either side is going to give up. But we'll leave it at that. I thank you all gentlemen for joining us here on this broadcast, on this debate. We are shifting focus now to Telangana, where BJP Telangana President Bandi Sanjay was arrested in the middle of the night yesterday from his Karimnagar residence. He was arrested in connection with the SSC paper leak case. The secondary school certificate question paper for Hindi was allegedly leaked on Tuesday, that is yesterday, in Warangal, just minutes after the examination began. A day earlier, on the 3rd of April, the SSC question paper of another subject was leaked, again a few minutes after the exam began. Now, according to the police, the Hindi paper was circulated on social media by Buram Prashant, a former journalist who is now a BJP member. This has stoked a massive controversy in the state. BJP workers were out on streets against the state government over what they called was excessive police action. They called Bandi Sanjay's arrest blatant misuse of power by the KCR government. They alleged political vendetta. Now, the FIR that has been filed in this particular case doesn't say that Bandi Sanjay was involved in paper leak, but he was arrested, in fact, for allegedly provoking students and BJP workers to stage a protest. Here's what the FIR mentions. It says that Bandi Sanjay said the government is responsible for the paper leak. He provoked students to stage protests. He wanted to create a law and order problem, which is why he was arrested. He wanted to disturb the continuation of these exams and create a sense of panic and fear. This was to demoralize students who were appearing for that exam, which is why the state government and the police felt that a preventive arrest of Bandi Sanjay was necessary. That's what the FIR reads. So is there a case that is made out against Bandi Sanjay or not? That is something they will have to prove in a court of law. Now, in the last few months, the exam paper leak controversy has hit Telangana on 2 occasions. Interestingly, in one case, the name of K.T. Ramarao was raised by the BJP, and in the other, in which Bandi Sanjay has now been arrested. The first one was the public service paper leak of Telangana, in which the paper was stolen and leaked. As far as the other case goes, there were 2 Class 10 SSC question papers that were leaked on 2 different occasions in this particular week. As far as the TSPC paper leak is concerned, 9 people have been arrested for cheating and for criminal breach of trust. 4 people, including Bandi Sanjay, were arrested for the SSC paper leak. As far as the TSPSC paper leak is concerned, K.T. Ramarao's personal assistant allegedly had links with one of the accused. That is what Bandi Sanjay and the BJP has been claiming. In fact, the Congress too has been demanding K.T. Ramarao's resignation. As far as the SSC paper leak is concerned, the leak was allegedly by an ex-journalist who now is a BJP member, which is why the connection with Bandi Sanjay. Now, the charge of a paper leak from KTR's office came to the fore that was made by both the opposition parties in Telangana, which is the Congress and the BJP. As far as the SSC paper leak is concerned, the paper was allegedly sent to Bandi Sanjay on social media. That is the allegation that is being made out. So is this just a coincidence, the 2 different cases and the 2 parties that seem to be linked to it? Is there more to it? That's debate number 2 on The Right Stand.
केसीआर की जंगल राज की भ्रष्टाचारी तानाशाही सरकार बौखलाहट में, हताशा में, निराशा में अपने ऊपर लगे आरोपों से ध्यान डाइवर्ट करने के लिए ये गंदा खेल खेल रही है।
We have some breaking news that's now coming in. The investigation is ongoing there on ground, and Bandi Sanjay and 3 others who were arrested yesterday have now been remanded to judicial custody until the 19th of this month. Swastika, my colleague, joining us to get us more details on this. Swastika, Bandi Sanjay and the others were produced before a magistrate just a short while ago. We're given to understand they are going to be leaving from there shortly, where he is going to be then put into judicial custody.
Yes, but Bandi Sanjay and 3 others have been remanded to judicial custody till the 19th of April. And in fact, even as we speak, I'm going to ask Venkatesh YVJ to show you the visuals. You can see Bandi Sanjay there waiting in the lobby. This is the magistrate's house. Just a few minutes ago is when the magistrate order came in, where it was given that Bandi Sanjay has been remanded to judicial custody till the 19th of April, and he has been waiting here like this for the last couple of hours, for at least 3.5 hours now. And we are given to understand that the next legal course of action that the BJP mulls to take is to file a bail petition before the magistrate, the first class magistrates court, and that is something that is likely to come up tomorrow. This is something that the BJP is planning to move in its next course of action. And you can also see the police here have been deployed. No BJP Karyakartas have been allowed to enter this entire zone. In fact, they've cordoned off this entire area to prevent any law and order situation. Very quickly, why Mr. Bandi Sanjay, who has been named as A1 in the SSC paper leak scam, is in the eye of the storm. He's been accused of provoking violence. He's been accused of conspiring with the co-conspirators A2 and A3 and A5 to resort to malpractices in SSC public examination with an intention to create rumors and provoke breach of peace of the ongoing public examination. He had received question papers. He was the one, according to the remand report, conspired with A2, got his hands on the Hindi question paper, and then tried to create panic amongst the general public by trying to dub it as yet another paper leak scam and target the BRS government. These are the allegations largely surfacing in the remand report that we've shown you. Back to you.
Right, so any minute now we are expecting Bandi Sanjay to be taken out of the magistrate's home, where he was just produced a short while ago. The court was shut, which is why he was produced before a magistrate. His lawyers are still speaking with him, perhaps charting out the next course of action. He has been remanded to judicial custody under the 19, which means he can apply for bail and seek bail. Whether that happens right away or in the coming few days, that is something that we will have to wait and watch out for. But for the moment, Swastika, thank you so much for getting us the latest. We will keep coming back to you as we see some action on ground there. But is this case made out against Bandi Sanjay, or is this misuse of agencies that the opposition claims the BJP does, an allegation against the BRS government in this case? And Tom Vadakan of the BJP and Vishnuvardhan Reddy of the BRS continue to be with me on this broadcast. And Mr. Reddy, I'd like to begin with you. The allegation that the opposition, including the BRS, makes against the BJP of using agencies against your political rivals, that's the same allegation you face today. Because as far as the FIR against Bandi Sanjay is concerned, it does not really detail the role he played in the actual leak itself.
So the police commissioner, the Warangal police commissioner, has addressed the press earlier today in the evening around 5:30 p.m. and he did explain about what Bandi Sanjay's role was. So the paper leak which happened yesterday morning, Mr. Bandi Sanjay, who is accused number 1 in this case, was in contact with accused number 2, Mr. Mr. Prashant. Both were in contact a day before. They both spoke on WhatsApp calls. They both exchanged WhatsApp messages, and everything was shown and presented to the media by the police commissioner himself. So calling it out as a witch hunt, making remarks as, this is a baseless case that wouldn't stand in the court. Let the courts decide, because we have concrete evidence of what Bandi Sanjay's role was. And if you look at it retrospectively, a couple of months back, Mr. Bandi Sanjay, in his address to the people, had made a statement and asked and urged the youth to keep their studies aside, the employees to not go to work, and for the people who are in business to stop running their businesses for the next 8 months and to tow with him so that BJP can come back to power. So these were the statements that were made in public. So it exposes the mindset of Mr. Bandi Sanjay, who always tries to rake up emotions, who tries to create a law and order situation. We've seen in the past.
So this is a preventive arrest because he's known to stoke tensions, Tom Vadakar.
Yes, even in the Greater Hyderabad elections a couple of years ago, he called out for a surgical strikes against a certain community.
Sure.
And he was all.
But he was stoking passions back then a case should have been filed in those particular cases and the arrest should have been made in those particular cases. But in any case, I would like Tom Vadakar to respond to the allegations that you're making. Yes, Tom Vadakar.
Poonam, the reality is Prime Minister is visiting Hyderabad and then he's about to announce a huge project about 15,000 crore. Now, the sense that they're getting in BRS is a situation they are counting their last days and they know they're going to lose this election. So this is basically a sense of encirclement. Now, what is the charge sheet? 16 hours after arresting him in the middle of the night, it takes them 16 hours to get an FIR filed. And there too, there is no, because application of mind is cooking up a story. When you cook up a story, there are, all these kind of pitfalls. Well, it went into his WhatsApp. I can send some WhatsApp to you and then say, Poonam, look, you have leaked papers. Now that makes no sense. And this WhatsApp issue.
No, I think Mr. Tom Vadakar, you need to understand the fact that Mr. Bandi Sanjay has not submitted his post. He has not submitted his post.
Vishnuvardhan Reddy, I gave you your time to make your point. Let Tom Vadakar finish and I'll come back to you. Yes, Tom Vadakar, go ahead.
Poonam, the fear is that Mr. Sanjay has now reached a point of, demolishing the BRS in its own state. So they have no option but to lock him up. And they have cooked up a tale saying that he is party to this leak. The leaking has been happening much before he came into the picture. There's been leak of the budget. Now, are you telling me the budget leak was also part of Sanjay's activity? Are you telling me the other paper leaks are all part of Sanjay? The point is, he wanted to point out this whole issue that leakages are happening like hell. And students, he wanted them to protest that you can't conduct an examination like this. This is discriminatory. And what is wrong with it? What is the role of the opposition? It's to show the light, to tell the party that is in dispensation that look, you are on the wrong. You're getting it all wrong. Your budget is leaking. Your papers are leaking. Something wrong with you. To put him under arrest for 14 days. The point is, you are creating a situation where you think the BJP will get affected by all this rackets of yours. No.
Sure. It's election year, Vishnuvardhan Reddy. Can we divorce the things that are happening in the state from the fact that it is election year, in fact?
Yeah. So let me tell you, Mr. Tom Vadakar made a statement that the Honorable Prime Minister is visiting Telangana and is going to announce mega project. But in the last 9 years, since the formation of Telangana, Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji has been showing stepmotherly treatment towards Telangana. There have been promises which were made to Telangana under statute in the AP Reorganization Act of 2014, which was made in the Parliament, and not a single promise. Not a single promise that was made to Telangana has still been implemented here. So Prime Minister Modi comes here just because it's an election year. He makes some big announcements because he wants to start his own mode of campaign. We understand that. But the ground reality is Telangana has always been discriminated. The very formation of Telangana, Mr. Prime Minister Modi ji in the Parliament has said that Telangana was formed by killing mother and giving birth to a child.
Sure.
So expecting something from Prime Minister Modi, Telangana people know it very well. We've not been granted a single educational institute, whether it's medical college out of the 157 that have been sanctioned across India.
Sure.
Telangana didn't get one. We didn't get a triple IT. We didn't get a National Institute of Design. We
Sure.
didn't get Navodaya schools.
Sure, but coming back to the point that we are discussing right now, Vishnuvardhan Reddy, like I said, we've seen these allegations fly thick and fast on both sides. KTR and his office has also been accused of playing a role in a paper leak for the Public Service Commission.
Yeah, let me clarify.
So all of this, is it just related to the elections is what I want to know.
Yes, so let me clarify. So Mr. Bandi Sanjay, who is the Telangana BJP state president, you know, Telangana is a small state. It's the youngest state with 4 crore population, and a state with such a small population has been given out more than 2 lakh jobs in the last 8.5 years, government jobs.
Sure.
And let me repeat that no other state would have given these many number of government jobs in the span of 8 years. So when the notifications were going out, Mr. Bandi Sanjay comes out and addresses a press saying that the BRS government is trying to lure youth away by giving out notifications. He says the youth, the government is trying to keep the youth busy with the coaching centers to help them prepare for the competitive exams.
Sure.
Now, what kind of a silly statement is that by the BJP state president? He doesn't want the youth to be occupied, you know, to be focused on their careers.
Sure.
He wants the youth to rally behind him, you know, take the path of agitation, create a sense of commotion and unrest in the state, and thereby try to, you know, grab power. But it's not going to happen in Telangana. And when you're talking about Minister KTR's office being involved in TSPSC paper leak, let me tell you, the 3 people who have been identified as, you know, the prime accused, whether it's the Public Service Commission leak, Mr. Rajshekar Reddy, whether it's the SSC Telugu paper leak, Mr. Bandeppa, or the latest SSC Hindi paper leak, Mr. Prashant. All 3 of them are BJP workers. That is the commonality. Now, all the 3 prime accused, one of them is an ABVP Karyakarta, the other is a Teachers Union Association of affiliated to BJP, and the third person, Mr. Prashant, who was, you know, working with BJP state president Mr. Bandi Sanjay. He happens to be working for Namo Modi TV,
Sure.
which is
So that BJP link is undeniable is what you're saying, yes.
BJP. So that is the commonality, and
Sure.
and if you look at the numbers, you know, the accusations that were made by BJP that Minister KTR's office is involved, and, you know, his PA has, you know, leaked the paper, and, you know, over 100 people in his home district have secured over 100 marks. This is all false.
Yes.
We've shown the
Sure.
record, we've shown the statement to the
Sure,
press.
and it's not just the
Minister
BJP
KTR
that made that
has come out in
allegation.
different-
The
only one
Congress's
person who has
Telangana
secured.
chief
That
also
must
made
not
that
be
allegation. Unfortunately, I'm running out of time, but I want to give 30 seconds to Tom Bodakan. Tom Bodakan, can we see this as mere coincidence? One where allegations are against the ruling party, another case where the allegations are against the opposition there.
Well, naturally, when the TRS minister PA is leaking out the budget leak and everything is attributed to the BJP, do we have access to the budget? What are we talking about? And then the IT minister's office? I mean, we are so great. I mean, we would have done greater things in Telangana. We are with the people. We are telling the people what is happening there. When you hold a mirror against them, they don't like that image. And then they put our president for judicial custody. Now, this is a kind of election year. This is going to the people's court, and let the people decide. Why are you so worried? Now, in the case of Kavita ji, that is before the ED. She will come again. She has been treated with great care, time and again. It's not middle of the night we picked up Kavita ji.
Sure.
I mean, ED didn't pick up middle of the night Kavita ji and put her did not take her to prison. We followed all formalities, not we. I'm talking about the ED. Now, here is a situation, middle of the night, you go and pick up a man and cook up charges against him. Believe me, you people...
Sure. So whether those charges stick or not, that's something that we will find out. He has been remanded in judicial custody until the 19th of this month. He can seek bail. Whether that happens tonight itself is something that we will keep an eye out on. But I'm completely out of time, and I'd like to thank you both gentlemen for joining us here on this broadcast. We are slipping into a quick break here on this edition, but on the other side, we are going to get you details of what exactly transpired in Kerala on board a train, the accused, the modus operandi, and whether there was a bigger plot.
who was the prime accused as per the Kerala police, he has been arrested. It was a joint team of Central Intelligence and Maharashtra ATS that have managed to nab Saifi. And he had been absconding ever since the incident took place on Sunday, where he had allegedly sprayed some inflammable liquid on the passengers of the train and then had set them afire. Now, yesterday his location was traced to Ratnagiri, and inquiries at the hospital in Ratnagiri revealed that Shahrukh was at Ratnagiri Civil Hospital for his treatment for the injuries that he had received, because he had, while escaping, he had jumped out of a running train, and that is why he had received some injuries, and he was getting treatment at Ratnagiri at the civil hospital. But when the teams reached there, he managed to, ran away from the hospital without getting complete treatment. However, subsequently, extensive searches were made for him in Ratnagiri area, and finally, Shahrukh was located with the help of technical surveillance and the team joint operations of the team, and he was arrested. Now, currently, it's being said that he is under the custody of the RPF Ratnagiri, and his interrogation is yet to start, after which his antecedents will be confirmed, and it will also be confirmed if he is the same man, because the police had been making many raids in Delhi, Noida, UP and other areas also, as it had been confirmed that this man belongs to UP, and since then raids are being made. Many other people had also been detained, who had similar names or had any possible connection with this incident. So this man has been taken into custody, and questioning will soon begin his possibility.
All right, Anvit, we also have Neetu with us. Neetu, now that the absconding accused Shahrukh Saifi has been nabbed, what next for him?
See, he'll definitely be brought back to Kerala, because the case has been registered in Kerala, and it's not just the Kerala police, but it's not just the Kerala police that has been involved in this. According to Manoj Gupta's information, that he has been nabbed by the Maharashtra ATS there. So, what officials here are telling is that they will know the motive of this only after nabbing this guy and questioning him on why this was. They was looking into this lone wolf angle also. So on what really led to this, because this was an attack where you were just randomly selecting the targets, walking into a compartment and just throwing petrol on someone. So the motive, as far as this is concerned, will all be looked into only after questioning this person. He has to be brought back to Kerala, because the case has been registered here. The case has been registered by the Kerala Railway Police, and a special investigation team led by ADGP Law and Order is investigating into this. Remember, the police had not ruled out any angle, including the terror angle, because they were looking into all these angles, because they were also shocked as to what could be the motive, because this was a random selection of targets, and the person was not from Kerala. He had previous addresses in Delhi and Haryana.
We have Vikram Singh joining us. Mr. Singh, now the absconding accused in this Kerala train fire case has been nabbed in Maharashtra's Ratnagiri. How do you see this development?
It is a matter of tremendous satisfaction that the investigation is progressing on expected and positive lines. This arrest is very significant because it will reveal, number one, the motivation, number two, the radicalization, number three, the support system, and number four, what drove them and how they planned their entire execution and why. Why did they pick up? Because the two accused that have been nabbed till now, one from Bulandshahr, the other from Ratnagiri, goes to show that the planning is absolutely right across India. And what were the reasons why did not they perpetrate anything there where they belong to? Why did they have to travel to Kerala to drive home a message, to give or obliterate their footsteps, or also to drive home a message that Kerala, what happened 6 months ago in banning of the PFI. These are matters of investigation, but the motive, the special interest groups, the modus operandi, they all have to be worked out. But yes, I'm absolutely sure that a wonderful work has been done by the NIA and also other law enforcement agencies. And yes, we can expect even more spectacular results in times to come.
So, Mr. Singh, do you think that the terror angle cannot be ruled out from this case? As in the recoveries also, there was a paper found on which there were different locations also written, and the police suspected that maybe those were the locations where he had planned more attacks.
The footprints are very clear. I have no doubt in my mind that it is a terror attempt and a terror module, certainly not a lone wolf also. It is a cumulative effect of few people, not very many, but a few people working in tandem in close cooperation. And you have the results, the horrific attack in the Kerala train.
Yasha Kotak is joining us on this story. Yasha, what is the latest update? Will the accused who has now been nabbed in Ratnagiri be taken to Kerala today?
Yes, as per the procedure, this person who has been nabbed from Ratnagiri would in fact be taken on a transit remand to Kerala, where further investigation would continue at Kerala, because the incident is from Kerala. So usually the police coming in from that particular state has to take the help from the local agency or the central agency for that matter. In this case, Maharashtra ATS had helped nab this person along with central intelligence, and from Ratnagiri railway station was where this person named Shauk Sethi was
Welcome back. On the night of 2nd April, a man entered the Alapura-Kannur Executive Express, sprayed an inflammable liquid on passengers, set them on fire. 9 were injured with burn injuries. Unfortunately, 3 people, including a child who tried to escape by jumping off the train, died. While the accused managed to escape back then, the police had recovered a bag, a few writings in Hindi, and a phone linked to the person from Uttar Pradesh. Today, the accused in this case has been arrested. A joint team of Central Intelligence and Maharashtra ATS nabbed Shahrukh Sethi from the Ratnagiri railway station of Maharashtra on the intervening night of Tuesday and Wednesday. So how exactly was Sethi tracked? Maharashtra ATS and central agencies zeroed down on Shahrukh Sethi with the help of a phone. Top sources are now telling your channel that a diary and a phone were recovered from the spot of the fire from on board that train. The phone recovered was without a SIM card, but it was on the basis of the IMEI number that it was traced to Shaheen Bagh. Police contacted the family. They told them that their son was missing and they had registered a report regarding the same. Intelligence sources are now telling us that 6 of Shahrukh Sethi's phones were put on surveillance after meeting his family. The fact that he had 6 phones to begin with was a matter of red flag for the agencies. Sources say one of the phones was switched on around 1:30 a.m. That's how the location was tracked by Maharashtra ATS, and they were then informed about the location, which happened to be in Ratnagiri. After being alerted, the local police team immediately rushed to the railway station in Ratnagiri. Upon reaching the hospital, the railway station, cops were informed that a man with injuries had come but later run away. A manhunt was launched and the whole area was searched. Shahrukh Sethi was then later found at the railway station, from where he was first detained and then later put on under formal arrest. Accused Shahrukh Sethi was arrested at about 1:30 a.m. It was a joint operation of multiple agencies. He has been handed over to the Kerala police. He will be reaching Kerala tomorrow. That's where the next leg of interrogation is going to take place. The probe suggests that in fact it was an act of terror, is what we're learning. He had 6 phones, which is something that the agencies thought was fishy. That was a red flag for them. What we're learning as far as the interrogation in Maharashtra is concerned of Sethi is that he did confess to buying the inflammable liquid. He admitted that he was asked to set people on fire. Where the instructions came from, what exactly was the bigger plan, that is still under investigation. That will now be followed up by the Kerala police tomorrow when he reaches Kerala. But CNN News 18 tried to track down the father of Shahrukh Sethi. We also went to the place here in the national capital in Shaheen Bagh, where he was a tenant. That is how he was tracked. A missing persons report was filed by the family. That is how even Delhi and Shaheen Bagh was involved in this investigation. Take a look at this report.
हमारी मौजूदगी इस वक्त शाहीन बाग में है। शाहीन बाग में शाहरुख सैफी के घर के बाहर हम मौजूद हैं, जहां अभी केरल एटीएस मौजूद है। आपको अगर तस्वीर हम दिखाएं, यहां पर केरल एटीएस की मौजूदगी और साथ ही जो दिल्ली पुलिस के जवान हैं वो यहां पर आपको नज़र आ रहे हैं। दरअसल 2 घंटे पहले यहां केरल एटीएस पहुंची है। बताया जा रहा है कि कल ही एटीएस इस पूरे मामले में पहुंची थी। आपको बता दें कि 2 अप्रैल को केरल में अलपुजा से कन्नूर जा रही ट्रेन में इल्ज़ाम है शाहरुख पर कि उसने आग लगा दी ट्रेन में और 3 लोगों की मौत हो गई। अभी आप देख सकते हैं शाहीन बाग में FC8 जो घर का एड्रेस है शाहरुख का, वो यहाँ पर है। और अगर मैं आपको घर की तस्वीर दिखाना चाहूँ शाहरुख के, यहाँ पर अभी आप देखेंगे तमाम ये शाहरुख का घर है यहाँ शाहीन बाग में, और लगातार पूछताछ की जा रही है क्योंकि बड़ी घटना सामने आई है। खुद सख्त कार्रवाई की मांग लगातार की जा रही है इस मामले में। और अभी भी जो ATS है, केरल ATS है, वो यहाँ पर मौजूद है। जो जानकारी मिली है उसके मुताबिक DYSP के नेतृत्व में एक ATS की टीम यहाँ पर पहुँची है पूछताछ करने के लिए। लगातार सारे सबूत इकट्ठा किए जा रहे हैं कि आखिर क्या मकसद शाहरुख सैफी का था। हर एंगल से इस पूरे मामले की जाँच हो रही है। अब वालिद साहब हैं, पिताजी हैं शाहरुख के। शाहरुख के बारे में उस पर इल्ज़ाम है शाहरुख ने ट्रेन में आग लगाई है, आपको ये बात पता चल गई होगी, क्या कहना चाहेंगे इस पर और क्या आपको पता चल रहा है?
नहीं सर, मैं तो ये कहना चाहूँगा अगर वो दोषी है तो उसको सजा दी जाए। अगर वो दोषी है तो उसको सजा दी जाए।
अच्छा
जी,
ये बताइए शाहरुख के बारे में बताइए, शाहरुख केरल क्यों गया था? केरल
मुझे नहीं पता कि वो क्यों गया, और यहाँ पे जो है जो भी आ रहा है मैंने उससे यही बोला है कि मतलब मेरे काम पे के लिए गया दुकान पे, लेकिन काम पे नहीं पहुँचा वो।
यहाँ से कहाँ काम पर जाता था?
सेक्टर 31 निठारी।
हाँ, काम पर नहीं पहुँचा। आपने गुमशुदगी की रिपोर्ट भी दर्ज कराई थी? कब?
2 तारीख को। 2 तारीख को।
ये बताइए कि काम के अलावा भी क्या वो कहीं कुछ जुड़ा हुआ भी था?
नहीं,
किसी
कहीं किसी का नहीं, कुछ किसी का कुछ नंबर कुछ तो मिलता। अगर वो ऐसा कुछ होता तो घर में कुछ तो मिलता। तो घर में कुछ नहीं मिला किसी को।
आप घर से कब निकला शाहरुख की?
31 तारीख को।
31 तारीख को क्या क्या गया था?
काम पे जा रहा हूँ।
It's election season in Karnataka, and there have been speculations of whether or not Kannada superstar Kicha Sudeep is going to make his political foray. He did come out today. He confirmed he's not going to be contesting from any seat, neither is he going to be joining any party. But he did say that he is going to be extending support to some friends in the BJP, including Chief Minister Basavaraj Bommai, and that he will campaign for them in this election season. While extended gratitude towards Bommai, Sudeep referred to him as an uncle who supported him during his tough times ever since he was a child. So why is this significant? Who exactly is this superstar? Now, he's been part of the Kannada film industry for over 2 decades. He made his debut in 1997. He rose to prominence with his film Hucha, that is where he earned his nickname Kicha from. He made his debut in Bollywood as well. That happened with the movie Fook in 2008. So there is much talk about Kicha Sudeep, but he is going to be a crowd puller for sure as far as BJP's rallies are concerned. Is that going to translate into votes? We tell you the significance now. He hails from Karnataka's Shivamogga district. He belongs to the Valmiki Nayaka community, which comes under the scheduled tribes. Now, this community is the largest among the 52 tribes. So the fact that Kicha Sudeep is going to be campaigning, especially for the Chief Minister in areas where he has a pull, whether that gives a fillip to the BJP or not, only time will tell.
I'm here to give my support to my dear uncle and my respected Bommai sir. So I'm here to render my support, sir. I feel there is a lot of good that has happened also, which is again a perspective as a citizen, and it's got nothing with my connection with him, sir. I have also been in India. I have been a citizen and I am paying my taxes. So when I see certain developments happening and certain good things happening there, I will have my opinion, sir. In that way, I totally, there is no way that we can, as a citizen, we'll be 100% okay with everything in life. But there are lots, sir. There are lots we agree upon, we idolize, and we say, yeah, this is right. That is why India is popularized. India is going up today. Yes, of course, I agree upon our leadership, Mr. Modi. I totally respect certain decisions that he's taken, and as an Indian, I totally respect that, sir. But that has got nothing to do with me sitting here today.
उसका पूरा कैंपेनिंग हम ब्लूप्रिंट करेंगे और उनका बहुत बड़ा पॉपुलैरिटी है और वो आर्टिकुलेट भी है, इसलिए बहुत बड़ा ताकत बीजेपी को मिलेगा. बीजेपी तो अभी विनिंग मार्जिन पहुंच गए हैं, तो स्पष्ट बहुमत से जीत जाएंगे.
Very good development for BJP party in Karnataka. He has a personal acquaintance with our Honorable Chief Minister, and at a very crucial juncture, he announcing the support would really go a very long way, and it will be very helpful for BJP party during elections because he is hugely popular and a lot of youngsters, the women, he has a huge following in Karnataka. Definitely it will help the prospects to revive back and to come back into power.
Good evening, this is Brass Tacks. I'm Zaka Jacob. At least 14 opposition parties had come together, forming a coalition of sorts, if you will, to try and seek justice from the Supreme Court against what they alleged was the weaponization of probing agencies, the CBI, ED, etc. However, today the Supreme Court declined to hear the petition, saying that it cannot issue general directions and can only intervene in individual cases. The bench, led by the CJI, Chandrachud, also stated that political leaders cannot claim a higher immunity than ordinary citizens, and hence no special set of guidelines can be issued. So the question is, has this attempt by the opposition to paint this narrative that ED, CBI, etc. are being used for political vendetta and as a political witch hunt against largely opposition leaders and opposition parties, has that backfired now with what the court has said and done? But first, the story.
गठबंधन बाद में बनेंगे, लेकिन कम से कम ये संवैधानिक और कानूनी गठबंधन अभी बन जाना चाहिए कि सामूहिक रूप से इस देश की जो भी प्रमुख 15 पार्टियां हैं वो एक साथ मिलकर उच्चतम न्यायालय में याचिका करेंगी कि अगर आप बराबरी का उपयोग या जो बराबरी का व्यवहार नहीं करते हैं इस एजेंसीज के विषय में, तो वो हमारे संवैधानिक मूल ढांचे का उल्लंघन है.
A massive blow to opposition's judicial coalition. 14 political parties face supreme rejection as the apex court refused to entertain a plea against the arbitrary use of probe agencies. It was a 3-judge bench headed by Chief Justice of India D.Y. Chandrachud with Justices P.S. Narasimha and J.B. Pardiwala. Opposition coalition argued that there is a 600% increase in CBI and ED cases, out of which 95% are against the opposition. To which the bench reverted that the conviction rate is generally dismal and a political leader is basically a citizen, so they don't claim any higher identity to seek guidelines from the court. And if at all there is a chilling effect on the opposition, then the answer lies in the political space and not in courts. The Supreme Court concluded by asking the opposition parties to file their pleas individually. Sensing the court's disinclination, Senior Advocate Singhvi sought permission to withdraw the petition. With no further solid action plan for the future, the question arises, has opposition's attempt at unity backfired? Bureau Report, CNN News 18.
All right, we'll try and get the view from both sides of the aisle, political as well as legal, where we'll be joined by two very, very prominent legal as well as political luminaries. I want to go first to Mahesh Jethmalani. He's a Rajya Sabha Member of Parliament, senior advocate with the Supreme Court. Thank you very much, Mahesh Jethmalani, for speaking with us. So what the court essentially said today is, we can't have a separate standard for politicians as a class, but if in individual cases they feel that there is vendetta or there is some kind of witch hunt, they are free to approach the court. How can the government claim that this is some kind of a political victory?
Well, because the normal course was that if you have a case in which you make all these allegations, you go to the concerned court, whether it's a magistrate or a sessions court or a special court, and then you have your appellate structure of the High Court and the Supreme Court. And all these avenues have been exhausted by the many politicians whom Dr. Singhvi was representing today in court, and they failed. So this was the last desperate attempt, right? And this attempt was that there is en masse discrimination and bias on the part of the investigating agencies. It's the cases are politically motivated, right? And what was not said but was implied was that if they are politically motivated, they are false. Now, the falsity part has already been tested by the individual courts concerned. They've gone into the facts of the case and they've either rejected bail because it's not a good case for bail, or they've said there's a prima facie case because the evidence so warrants. Right? Now, the whole case was totally, if I may say so, Zaka, an exercise in misadventure, completely misconceived, and if I may add, slightly audacious.
But tell me this, Mahesh, I mean, the numbers at the end of the day are still what the numbers are, and the figure